Hello. Today I'm just in the mood of hanging out with y'all online people. So this is my third shit happening of the day, okay? But my final one for the day, and I could have not ended it with a better person than the one I have backstage for me. By the way, your live streaming is a process. So how about I thought my guest was late, but I was in the other studio because I've created all the studios because I've created them. So I'm sitting there just waiting and texting her, "Where are you?" And she's patiently waiting me in the studio that she's allocated to be at. Again, shit happens, right? That's why we're here because shit does happen. So, if you're new to Shit Happens is a segment because shit happens where I am gonna choose one question which kind of rounds up everything with the guest I have. And it's gonna be 30 to 45 minutes, even though lately I've been running out of time because podcasters can talk, y'all. I need to bring real people because podcasters do not know how to shut up. It goes all the way to 45 and then plus. But I love talking to my podcaster people and I love to talk myself. So why not? Now, I know you're tired of listening to me. So let me bring the incredible, the one and only Rachel to the stage.
Hi,
Hey, baby. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, darling. Thank you for saying yes and putting in the time. I'm lucky mad at Rachel because I was supposed to be seeing her last week at Podfest, and for some reason, she dis- for some reason I did not see her. Even though I knew she wasn't coming, but it was still painful because
Mhm.
I was excited for January to see her.
But you'll see me soon when I come out your way.
Can't wait to drink some champagne with you.
Yeah.
So, Rachel, how's finding love been?
Yeah, talk about shit happens. Yeah, it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey.
How is it right now? I know people need to go listen to your podcast to find all the juicy stuff,
Yeah.
but where are we right now in the journey?
You know
Uh,
what? We're in a really good place right now, actually.
nice. I
Yeah.
love to hear that.
Yeah.
And
Um,
it's February, it's the month of love.
that's true. That's true. You know what? I say multiple times in my podcast, this isn't one of those stories where the heroine ends up alone and in love with herself. But I mean, I think all the personal development work I just feel really happy with my life, regardless of
Who
not
is in,
some.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. And I think that's why I used to be a person who, as soon as I break up with someone, like it doesn't take me long to find the next person. And it took me a while. Like I've been single-ish since 2019. Um, but that was the time where I really needed to also, I was like, okay, I haven't been single and alone in a minute. Let me see what I actually like. Maybe these relationships are not working, not because of them, maybe because all the other relationships, everything I have in one. So I can't even see where this new one is supposed to be because I didn't really recover from those ones. So
Right.
once I started really, I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with being alone relationships that aren't worth us because we don't want to be alone. And then I fell in love with like the next person who comes in my life. I I want to give them all the love I have, but also to know that they're not my world. Like we make our worlds together, but I also have my world because sometimes that's what we dive into their world and it becomes shambles and all that. But I've been enjoying loving myself. So I
Yeah.
understand that part to the extent my brother was like, don't get too used to it that you end up really alone because you're so comfortable being alone. And I'm like, I think most women, we need to be okay with that. That way we can find the love that deserves us.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think I saw a reel. I think it was maybe Eartha Kitt. where she said she's fallen in love with herself and now she needs somebody to share her with. And I thought that was so great coming from a place where I mean, I liked myself a little bit, but I didn't really appreciate what I had to offer. And I'm actually the opposite of you. My joke is I can't even get in a bad relationship because it's just kind of like I don't know how to it's like I don't how do people just end up in a relationship? I couldn't figure it out. I still can't figure it out. But yeah,
I'm so quick. I'm those people who like there was never a dating stage. Like if we date for those like 2 3 dates, and then I really like you, and then I'm like, okay, I don't want. We are not talking with anybody else. We're gonna see this, and then it goes. And they normally don't last more than 1 year. So maybe that was also the problem.
that's a long time. So wait, help me with this. I'm supposed to tell them after 2 or 3 dates, you're not allowed to talk to anybody else. That's what I'm doing wrong.
But listen, I did that and I'm still alone. So I don't know if that works either. I mean, it might give you 9 months, but
Well, you got to start somewhere.
right? And it's funny, no, because for me, I'm very into connection, right? I find that connection. So once I see that connection, like I really enjoy your company, like I really enjoy being around you. I really enjoy the sex we have and everything. I'm like, why would I be talking to anybody else?
Yeah.
So that was always my mindset.
Yeah.
Actually, the last guy I dated, the one who from 2019, um, it was when we met. Literally after 2 days, I was like, and he was like, "Yeah, me too. I don't want to talk to anybody else." And then we went for almost a year, and then a lot of ups and downs. But and I feel like when somebody also is the same way, like if you find a guy who's also really looking for deep connection, because
Yeah.
there are those people who say they are looking for that, and then once it gets, they start acting up like, okay, so you could have just said you just want something casual, so I would have walked in that with a casual mindset.
Right.
But when you tell me you want all that, and I start putting it, I feel like it shouldn't take 6 7 days for you to know that we shouldn't be talking to somebody else.
That's what I thought too, but it just hasn't been my experience. And you are. I mean, that's obviously something that I noticed about you right away when we connected is what a deep connector you are. So, and I am too. And I think that's why we hit it off so well. But okay. I'm looking like
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, and I tell anyway whenever on dating apps when people just start hi, how you doing? How's your day? I'm
Okay.
already like, come on, like I want you to hit me with like something straight up. Let me know if we connect, because I thrive in deep connections.
Yeah.
So sometimes this is what I started doing on dating apps. So I would just when I'm bored, like literally waiting for something, and I just need something to, I go and start swiping, because I really don't use dating apps anymore apart from promoting my podcast, and I do get a lot of listeners and guests from dating apps.
Dating apps. Interesting.
I even got one guy who I'm literally right now coaching, and because he wants to start a podcast. So I don't use I stop, like I'm like, if a connection comes from the dating app, school, but otherwise we're gonna talk about my podcast and I'm gonna get listeners and downloads. So
I love it.
so what I started these days, I'll swipe, and then whoever I match, I'm like, hey, wanna make out? Hey, wanna have sex? Just to get the reaction and see. If you jump straight in, yes, let's go. I'm like, oh, so you're here just for sex. I'm on. But then if you're like, wait, what? Like, I know, like, a guy who really, they matched me because they didn't see the message when they matched me, right? So if they really matched me to get to know me, even though they want to, because let's be real, all the guys in the app want sex. Like even most of us, it's there, it's the reality. But if it doesn't go straight away, like yes, when or anything, or he makes a joke about it or have a conversation or something, then I'm like, okay, now let's go. But it took the awkwardness, the hi, how are you, the
Yeah.
whatever, and then you start talking, and then it leads to something or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Okay.
like. I'm a person. I say I like making people uncomfortable to get them
Uncomfortable.
comfortable.
Yeah. I'm just going to take some notes here. So, okay, continue.
Oh my God. But Rachel, we are not here to talk about your love life today, sadly. But I figured it was a nice Kickstarter because I haven't gotten any updates lately. See, I love friends like Rachel, right? When she decided to take a break from social media, she literally sent me an email to tell me that I'm gonna miss you. You can get me through here, but I'm not gonna be on social media for. That means a lot because I'm tired of people just disappearing, and I'm like, are you dead? Are you alive? Like, are you? Where are you? What's going on? So
Yeah.
that was very thoughtful. I really appreciated that.
Well, there's people that you only connect with online. And when you need to take a mental health break, and you want to stay connected to them and you want them to know, hey, I'm not leaving your life, it's important. So
And that's when I realized I was like, wait, all this time the way me, because we have had conversations deep on. So in my head, for sometimes I think like, weren't we texting? Like all that was on Instagram messages. Like so when I got the email, I was like, oh damn, Rachel doesn't have my number. I don't have Rachel's number. But the way how our connection is and the amount of conversations we have, it was like, wow. We sometimes really rely on social media to communicate.
yeah.
So Rachel, you how does it feel? First of all, congratulations for being an award winning. How does it feel
Thank you.
to
You know,
say I'm an award winning podcaster?
I'm an award winning. I know Heather, our mutual friend Heather, is always like, you are an award winning podcaster. And, I like saying my awards right there, right there.
Look at that. Look at that. The silver. That's what's it?
Signal.
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 You know, it was really nice because my podcast is a story. So I write it out. I mean, it's all true, but I spend a lot of time. We've talked about this. There's a lot that goes into podcasting. And when you
Mm-hmm.
don't, it's a way of giving to your listeners. It's a way of sharing vulnerability and inspiration. And, I've told you the whole reason that I wanted to start the podcast and talk about dating, which normally I would never talk about because, believe it or not, I consider myself like a pretty private person, although not lately.
Not
Uh,
after, not after when I listened to your podcast, I was like, she said she's a private person, cause baby, ain't nothing private about this podcast.
but I think what happened for me on that is I used to worry so much about how other people were going to perceive me. And then, just spend a day reading people's comments on Instagram reels and how awful they are. And you lose respect for the general public in a way where I go, I don't care what that person, I don't care what they think of me. Like I'm putting this out because I want people to not feel alone in dating. I want to help, I don't make money off of it, nothing. So to answer your question about the award, it was really nice to get that like third party validation. More than the award, though, when I hear from someone, like I have a listener in Denmark who I don't know, who found me through another podcast, and she will message me like, I'm not giving up on love because of you. I found someone. We're dating now. And I'm like, I'm coming whether you invite me or not, I'm flying out to Denmark. I'm coming to your wedding. You know what I mean? It's just like, if your life is better because you listen to my podcast, like that's the award for me. This award also, though, like I said, really, it meant a lot to me because it validates that there's value to somebody that I'm giving. Because, I used to be a coach and I could get immediate gratification from the person getting a breakthrough or coming back and saying, you changed my life and all this kind of stuff. Podcasting, and I purposely created this way because I take on other people's like emotions. I just feel them so deeply. So I created the podcast dynamic so that there would be a boundary and space. But the downside is you don't get to see the rewards of your effort. You want to feel like you're making a difference. That, like, why am I doing this? And when people message me or leave reviews or things like that, it like keeps me going.
And that's not true. Speaking of carrying the emotions with you, I'm the same way. That's why I said I could never be a therapist because, baby, like, even when my friends are going through things, like, I try to find ways to just, how can I make them better? Like, I take them like my own problems, which ends up like, but then I started having being like, I need to kind of tone it down because people don't do the same for me. They just be like, oh, okay, sorry, and then while I'm here, but when you talk about like awards, right? Tell everybody, um, when you win them, you should brag because that shows your hard work. As you said, we don't get instant gratification. That's why we always ask people to leave reviews because they mean so much, at least for us to know that someone out there is getting some, because it takes a lot to do the podcasting. And especially um, some people like us, I was a little bit simpler, right? Some people like you, because there are different types of podcasting. You guys are storytellers, and I have also Dominic, incredible friend of mine. He does the sounding and he tells Black history stories. So
Mm.
imagine you hear the train, then he takes probably 4 or 5 hours just creating, you know, and that's without doing the marketing side of things, right? That's just doing that. So he has won 22 awards, and it's
Oh,
the reason why I wanted to start doing awards. And he came on my podcast, we talked about it, and he constantly is like, bet on yourself, because at the end of the day, these awards, maybe in the near future, they're not just gonna seek you out. Sometimes you gotta just push it yourself out there and let your work speak for it, because how else are they gonna find you? And I tell him, just like I'm going to tell you, brag about it. You are an award winning. Yes, we don't do it for that,
yeah,
but nobody in the world here wants to put so much work and not for them to feel like it's appreciated.
yeah,
If for whatever purposes you're doing. Yes, there are those people who really just do it for appreciation. Like, I just want to be known. I did that. I did that. I did that. But no, there are those us, like even my podcast, I don't, when I get somebody who tells me, "Oh my God, that episode touched me," you sharing that, maybe that makes me so happy. When I participate in communities, it's because the communities pour on me. I won a community hero award. I wasn't expecting it, and it didn't even. It wasn't about the award itself. But
yeah.
yes, I am gonna keep on saying I won an award because I did. But it wasn't as the award itself. It was like, I am doing this not to receive an award. There was never those awards to apply for. These ones you get picked. So I
Yeah,
never knew about it. I didn't apply for it. I just pour in this community because it pours so much love to me. And then for them to see that, oh my God, Paula is always pouring, and recognize that and award you for that,
yeah,
that is priceless. So baby, even if you don't do it for that, your hard work, the award is to show that your hard work is seen, is appreciated, and keep doing that, because those awards, just like the reviews, just like the people reaching out and saying all this, is what keeps us going
yeah,
and not wanting to give up.
yeah.
Because there are days where you're like, man, fuck this podcast.
Well, that's what I say. It's also validation that you're on the right track. Like,
Yes, yes.
the universe can like send you messages through different ways of like keep going, and I think that that's one of them.
And you put a lot of work to your podcast. Again, I say mine is just I interview people, I post it. You literally have to go through your messages and get those
Yeah,
voice notes when you're telling the stories and implement them, and take us in that moment. Like, literally, bingeable podcast. Like, I remember when I first met you and I was listening to it. I was walking at that time. The weather was nice, so I would take walks, so it would be the podcast I'll play when I'm walking, and I'll keep on messaging, wait, what happened here? What? And then I'm like, wait, what? And then I want to skip forward, but I don't want to miss. Like, it's so addictive, and it's because of the work you put in there. So
thank you.
kudos to you, Mama.
Thank you.
I've never been more proud of you, like when I found out you won, because I remember when we were talking about applying for awards. And then again, Signal is a big one. Like when you win Signal, we'll be like, these are big ones. You're competing with people who have marketing budgets, who have a whole team, who have, so to win that, you should be damn proud of yourself, girl.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we all put in, you know, you were saying I put in a lot of work. I mean, obviously you do as well. It's just different
Oh
different
yeah, oh
forms.
yeah,
You've
oh
gone
yeah.
live. I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe she's going live and I can't believe I'm going live with her." That, takes a lot of courage. So, you know, we all show up in our with the strengths that we have and share our gifts.
But yeah, that's so true. But also, I think it's also being in this industry, like once you start getting validated, right? When people, I was at Podfest this year, last week, and somebody was telling people, that's my mentor. And I'm like, little on me, like I've never thought of myself as a mentor, right? Because in our head, when we were growing up in school, a mentor is that person who got his shit together and he's showing you the ropes and pulling you under his wing. And I don't see myself doing that, even though that I know when people come to me and ask for advice, I offer as much, I support as much, I help as much, and I direct them to people who can. I'm big on connecting people. I love connecting people. I hear, I connect. You need to know this, you need to know this, and I'm big on support. So to hear somebody say that, and then also in the clubhouse room, two people came to me and were like, because of you, I'm inspired to start doing lives. And I was like, oh my God. So we're here thinking like I'm just a little small person, like I'm just doing this, but those people are watching and they're getting inspired and motivated. And that also, when they come and tell you, it fuels you to be like, man, these little things I'm doing and they're getting out of that, I gotta go harder. So
Yeah.
that's how I ended up being like, you know what, let's start doing live, because what the hell.
Well, I told you inspired me when we had our first conversation to, bring back my old podcast. And, I said, "Oh, it's this like cringy version of me," which by the way, I'm writing the finale. So I went back and listened to earlier episodes, even of this podcast. And I'm like, I can't listen to this. It's so like cringy. But you said there's people that can learn from the cringy version of you. So
Yeah.
okay, well, let's bring her back. So, and then even applying to speak, right? Like we met because we both did talks at Podfest last year, and you were like, "Why have you not applied to be a speaker yet?" So, I definitely find inspiration from you in so many ways. So, yeah.
And thank you. And yours was more heartfelt because, for those who don't know, right, Podfest had a Podfest Global last year. And after my presentation, I did a meetup, and only Rachel came, which I enjoyed. And I even told her, I love it that we are one, because we really got to have deeper connections without feeling like, oh my God, we're the only, let's let other people talk and share. So we got a whole time to really talk with each other and build this connection. And from there, so after that call, for her to come and then tell me, like, you inspired me, I'm doing this, because after 2-3 days, you sent me the voice. I was like, and we had just met. So that was one of my highlights of not even my presentation at Podfest or anything like that. Was my highlights, like, oh my God, we really be sleeping on ourselves and thinking that we don't have things to inspire people, because who am I to inspire somebody? But people are getting inspired, and that fuels us. We end up doing it. It makes us grow in this world that we're trying to figure out.
Yeah. And I think, I've seen a lot of reels about this, and I kind of feel like this is something that has been on my heart lately. If somebody inspires you or somebody says something and it positively affects you, people are so quick to tell someone when they negatively impact them, so quick, like too quick.
Mm-hmm.
And if we only did that more with when they positively inspired us, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I'll have somebody say something later, and when I'm having a bad day, which is often, it's like I dig into other people's words sometimes to lift me up. And so I feel like, same thing, like when I get a review or anything that tells me, keep going, you're doing a good job, like what you're doing actually matters. There's that like ripple effect out into the world. Um, I'm trying to be better at going to people and saying like, hey, you said this or you did this or whatever, and it actually inspired me. I in my old podcast, I talked about taking drum lessons and that I, was just curious. I when I go on walks, I'll like air drum to music. And so I took a couple drum lessons, and I had someone reach out and say that they were inspired to go back to their musical instrument. And I thought, really? I was just kind of being dumb, but that made me so happy. And so I feel like that's a quick way to spread some good cheer, let someone know how they positively impacted you.
It really is. And and to top on that, right? That's so true because I feel like even though people are getting inspired, they won't come and tell you. They'll
Yeah.
keep it to themselves. Either they'll try to copy you or be better at it than you, or just watch and keep quiet. But as soon as you said, as soon as you mess up or do something, they point fingers. So that's why I love it when people come and tell me, and I try to do that as well a lot. Like, oh my God, keep going. That's why for me, in other ways of also like always trying to share people's stuff, like just to show them like I'm supporting you, whether I can be there or I can, even if I can't be there, even if I can't buy your course, even if I can't, I'm gonna share because it doesn't take a lot to share. It
Yeah.
doesn't take a lot to share, you know.
Yeah.
So there's so many ways you can, and there's nothing good about like even me when I have my bad days, I legit go and listen to voice notes of people telling me stuff, or I screenshot. I have a folder where I screenshot all the amazing things people have told me. And right now after this year at Podfest, because everybody was calling me the mayor and everybody was like, oh, Paula, and everybody was coming to me and telling me how much of a light I am and how much I bring joy. I have never cried at Podfest. This year, I couldn't stop crying
Yeah.
because it's a validation because sometimes you feel like, am I being judged because I'm too loud or I'm too, eager, because when people don't tell you anything, but they like having you, but you're still not sure what they're thinking in there.
Yeah.
And to just be in places where as soon as they see you, they get excited and you see them lighting compared to, when you get to places and you hear people changing the subject and cough. Yeah, so
Well, that's back to the original or one of the earlier points. Like I had to learn that I'm not for everyone. In fact, I'm probably not for most people, but when I found the people that do appreciate me, those are the people I want to be around. I'm not trying to purposely offend anyone or hurt anyone. That's not my heart, but eh, people get triggered for different things and they go, and there's a lot. So as someone like you that is a huge light, it would be a huge disservice to turn that down because there's a couple people that don't like it or get affected by it because they want to do it and they're not, strong enough to do it or whatever it is. And it's not their fault either. There's so many, I was thinking about this the other day, there's hurting, so many people hurting for so many reasons for, like just look at the last couple years. I try to stay in my lane, do what I do best, help as many people as I can, block out the people I'm trying to help those people, but I'm not going to let them stop me from helping the ones that will accept my light or whatever I'm trying to, spread.
And I like that you decided to just be like, fuck it, I'm a get out of my own way and do my thing, and those who love it will follow, those who don't. Because most of us, even me when I started we get censored with that. Again, social media can be very cruel, and
Yeah.
as much as we want only positivity, you can't control that, However beautiful a post is, there'll always be somebody who gets offended by it or feeling. So I started learning, I was like, whether you decide to be your fully self or you tame yourself down,
Yeah.
people are still going to judge and talk,
Yeah.
right? But if I tame myself down, I'm making myself depressed. I'm making myself sad because I'm not happy. I'm not living the life I fully want. And it's also not going to bring the people I need in my life because we are not showing up as our true self. Because if you didn't show up as your true self, we probably wouldn't have bonded because you wouldn't be as open, or because you would be scared of sharing, and I would be like, okay, this is not deep enough for me, fuck this, so, and then there, but you end up missing on relationships that will, that as long as you nurture them, become into a supportive system. A lot of my podcasting community, some of them, like, they went from just being podcasters, connections, to even deeper, to feeling like family. Like, some of them, I go to them with my personal problems, I cry. Some of them know my personal shit more than the friends I have, because
Yes.
of me being me, allowing to be myself and showing up as myself, and allowing them to take me. And that's why I tell people, you people out there, so however you are, you will find that people will accept you, and those who don't, it really, don't bother about them,
Yeah.
because people get triggered, people get offended with whatever that doesn't align with them. But then that's not your life. This is my life. Let me we should all allow each other to live each other's life. If you feel like you're okay, I don't like the way she's living, you can unfollow, you can block, you can go to the other side. Like, there's no problem. Nobody's forcing you to be here in my space.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's just people would be happier if they looked for less opportunities to be unhappy, you know? Yeah. My I had someone come over and help me hang up some pictures finally. I've been in the house 2.5 years, and my 14-year-old was looking at all the things that I had hung up, pictures of the boys, things like that, and he was like, "Another motivational quote from mom, another mo," and it was like, yeah. I have this quote that talks about how life is amazing and also heartbreaking, and how that's what life is. And, then there's another one that talks about you have this day ahead of you, and when it's done, it's done. Like, make something great with it, and I want them to see that every day and have in their minds kind of the filter to, like, specifically be looking for the good. That doesn't mean we don't feel all the bad feelings, of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
but, like, feel them. Then you don't walk around the world projecting them out onto everybody, else. I
So
mean, it's hard.
true.
It's hard.
It
It's
really is. And
hard.
even me, I tell people, like, especially people, like, I'm an advocate for mental health.
Yeah.
I get depressed. And even on my talk, I told them, because my talk was how mental health saved my mental, my how podcasting saved my mental health.
Yeah.
And I told them straight up, is my depression cured? Fuck no. I still get depressed. I still have suicidal thoughts, but I have aligned myself with people who can help me get up when I am down, because I decided to be myself. And I tell people, I hate when people use their mental health as an excuse, because your mental health is not you. It's just part of you. There's so many other, and sometimes we are the reason we don't get healed from our mental health. Because if I'm saying I'm depressed, right, and I'm constantly doing things like, I'm pretending I have this different life on Instagram, and then in real life I'm literally sleeping on the floor, but on Instagram I am posing at all these Louis Vuittons and doing that. And then when you actually have to show up at places, people are looking at you like, are you the same person? And then everywhere you have to be somebody else. Tell me, are you not gonna be depressed constantly?
Yeah.
Because even you don't know exactly who you are or where you belong, because you're, so we do get in the way of ourselves, and sometimes we are not gonna heal because we put that, or when they use the excuse like, oh, I can't do that, my anxiety won't let me. But you haven't tried, how do you know?
Yeah.
So this was this was not the direction I was expecting this to go, but I love it. But that's what I love about shit happens, right? Shit
Yeah.
happens. Like, I just love to have deep conversations that just nurture and hopefully inspire or motivate or make people think. Because I feel like people don't think as much these days,
Yeah.
and I need people to use their mind. And some people need a mindset switch, because I've been working on mindset switch. We are so determined to my way. This is how it's supposed to be. And that's why I like talking and meeting different people. So I'm that person who, I don't do cancel culture. I don't do you're getting canceled. Even if we don't like the same things, or you don't accept my life, I don't accept your life, I must still hang around you so I can learn about your life. Even if I live at that point where I'm still like, yeah, that lifestyle ain't for me, but I understand where you're coming from, because we are having those conversations. People need to have those conversations and ask, so why did you decide to go this route? Why are you
Yes.
doing this? Instead of just saying, I can't believe you're going that route. I can't believe that's how you're living your life. But it's my life, and that's okay. So I'm glad we were able to have this conversation. But you have some amazing shit that's coming up. Before the time ends, I want us to talk about that. Why did I say? Yeah, you have a master class coming up, the Bingeable Podcast. And I feel like I am so glad you're finally doing a course, because you are really good at this. Like, your podcast is a Bingeable Podcast. You have done that. Okay. So, and to be honest, because when I met you, again, you were like, you had all these ideas and stuff, but you were still also kind of scared to put them out there.
Yeah.
Like, there was like something that making you like, but should I really? But should I? And I would always be like, do it, do it, do it. So when I woke up one day and found out you're working on this masterclass course, and I was like, oh my God, look at my baby growing. She's growing like a proud mama. So let's talk about the Bingeable Podcast masterclass course.
Well, let me just say this, because I'm not like, I'm not, I was gonna say, I'm not here to sell anything. Like, that's
Oh
not,
no, we're not selling. We're
no,
just
no.
talking
So
about a course.
what I want to say is based on what you said, more about what you said, less about like what the course is about. But that is, last year I needed like a year of hibernation. It was just like, I don't know. When I look at, my podcast is 3 seasons, and I look at season 2, and it was more of like, I did a episode of just unscripted about being depressed and being in that like almost like dark night of the soul. I feel like last year was the rest before the storm. I don't know what the analogy is. The rest before the race. It was just kind of like I needed a break from social media. I needed an emotional break. I needed a mental break from trying to put anything out there. And January came, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm so excited about it. And the thing that's cool is I didn't want to do it because I was overthinking what are the modules going to be, and what's the price and all the stuff. And then I just put it out there. And I had all these people start to sign up, right? It's 10 people, and I have like 6 spots already filled, and it doesn't start till the end of the month. But the people, like really great people, because they've seen me grow my podcast, I didn't have to sell anything, because there was a credibility with people that knew me and knew my podcast, and they wanted to be part of it. And I started to get so excited about, instead of promoting my own podcast, getting to promote the podcasts of the people that like go through the course and graduate, and thinking that they are going to get messages from people in Denmark and Japan and whatever, all over the world. And that there's that like kind of ripple effect that happens from the podcast. But now, instead of it being my episodes, it's other podcasts being created, and kind of the ripple effect out of there. And that like totally lit me up, which I wasn't expecting. And and now I just, I'm just super excited to start, because for me, like you had said, podcasting kind of, and your mental health journey like really saved you. For me, personal development is one of my top core priorities. Reading books. I'm always working with a coach, whatever it is. That's why my podcast, I want to be able to share the personal development without the coaching. And I feel like I've found a way to teach podcasting so that it has personal development kind of built into it. Like you don't just go on and create. It's not that kind of, robotic, this is how you upload to Libsyn. It's like how can you be vulnerable? How can you be consistent? What does it take to be a good podcaster? Do you want to get involved in the community and meet amazing people and have new friends? Like, what are the benefits of actually having a podcast and then actually putting one out that hits the charts, tops the charts, gets downloads, is ranked so high, gets awards, things like that. So, I don't know. I am lit up about it. And it was the timing just, I guess, had to be right.
I love it. And you can tell, I always tell people when people are passionate about what they're doing, look at them when they're talking. Their face just starts blushing and they're little. And as you were talking about that, you could not stop. I was like, man, I feel like a man candy right now she's admiring because this can't be just about the course, but it's amazing that you're doing that. And it's so true. Sometimes taking a break, like stepping away and just refreshing yourself. And then when you come back to that space, you come back with a light bulb, like, I gotta do this thing. And you just do it because when you start overthinking it, you
Yeah.
might just end up rushing it. That's what happened with Shit Happens. I was getting overwhelmed with my podcast. Last year was just a bad year for me. I was getting overwhelmed. A lot was going on. I didn't want to be on social media, but I still had like 4 episodes, 5 to still promote before. And I didn't want to feel like I didn't want my guests to feel like I promoted all the other episodes so loud on social media and then theirs, I'm disappearing. So I still needed to show up and do the same for them. But as soon as that last episode was done, I was like, thank you, God. I do not care if I don't post for 3, 4 days. I do not care if I don't. I needed that refresh. And as soon as I was sitting there and thinking, I was like, I still love this world, but I just need to find something that brings that excitement back because it's a lot of work, which the work makes the other stuff feel so draining, which is supposed to make. So I was like, let's do lives. Let's do 30, 40 minutes lives where I don't have to worry about editing, putting them out there. Like, it will be fun. No interview questions, just pick something and go with the flow, but it gives people inspiration. And I started this yesterday. You are my fifth so far. I did 2 yesterday, I did
That's
3
great.
today. I
Congratulations.
know. Thank you. And the engagement has been incredible. That I'm having fun. I love it. I'm not even tired because it was 10, 12, 2. So I've just had like an hour break in between. But
Yes.
I am still like energized and I was like, this is what I needed. So sometimes stepping away and just taking that break to refresh
Yeah.
does make and I get it. Like I think that's the advice I'll tell people. Don't overthink it. Like as soon as you get it, just
Do it.
flow it out and then figure it out as you go. And when you put yourself a deadline where you still haven't figured it out, that helps planning it. Because when oh my God, the deadline is end of next month, and that's gonna rush. And especially when you start seeing people sign up, and you're like, oh my God, okay, let's do this. And it's so nice. Like I'm so proud of you. Next we will know is you have your own bingeable summit. Anything is possible. I can see that happening. And if it does, first say that shit happens.
Yes.
Not if it does, when it
When
does.
it does.
When it does. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Let the people know where they can find you, where they can find your podcast, any amazing shit you have coming up that they can look forward to, and all those beautiful stuff.
My podcast is on all the platforms, Love Before 100. And my course is thebingeablepodcast.com. And I'm on Instagram with Paula, the Rachel Burch.
Thank you very much. Well, people go binge your podcast. You will literally come and tell me why didn't I tell you sooner, which I do apologize. But you will laugh, you will cry, like it's a roller coaster. Like you will want, when you find that show you're watching and you want to hit the TV sometimes because why are you being stupid right now?
Yeah. I'll say you'll cringe. You will cringe. You will cringe.
I swear, I think until today, one of the episodes that's still in my head is is the one where you met the guy on the flight and that entire like I was like, oh my God. But then I was like, but this must have ended because we have so many more episodes ahead. So I was already like being sad before even listening. I was like, because it was such a nice meet cute, like, and it was so romantic. But that's the thing. I love the roller coaster. Like you go up, you go down, you cry, you smile, you laugh. But it's incredible. Well,
Thank you.
Rachel, thank you so much again for hanging out with me and everybody. Go do some amazing shit. Stop blocking your growth because I really feel sometimes we block our growth because we just overthink.
Yeah.
So go do the damn thing. All right. Did I end it?